Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be looking at a band I covered maybe 2 years ago. They're a band that I really enjoy. It's a band called Draconian. Now I've got, I think, most of their music. I think their first album is an absolute masterpiece. The opening track, Cry of Silence, is possibly one of my favourite pieces of music of all time, and in my opinion one of the best opening tracks on an album, because it is just a phenomenal piece of music. But anyway, I'm waffling on there. Like I said, I checked them out about 2 years ago when I looked at a track called Lustrous Heart. Now today I'm going to be looking at a track called Sorrow of Sophia. Now this is, I'm assuming, Sorrow of Sophia, I'm assuming this is in reference to, excuse me, the goddess Sophia, who's the goddess of wisdom or knowledge, something like that, because I believe the name Sophia comes from the Latin for, like, knowledge and stuff like that. I could be horrendously wrong, but, you know, I'm guessing that's what this song is about. I do have lyrics here. They are from Genius Lyrics, unfortunately, so there is a chance they could be incorrect. But this is a lyric video as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've not heard this track. I don't think I have this album, unfortunately. I mean, it was released in 2020, and I've not actually bought any Draconian for quite a while. Anyway, we'll jump into this and see what we've got. So this is the Sorrow of Sophia by Draconian. Let's have a look.
Grandeur of stillness and all
There we go. Sorrow of Sophia by Draconian. And as I expected, it is an absolutely beautiful piece of music. I always love about the band the way those two voices sort of, they complement each other, but they're also so different as well. You know, she's got an amazing, beautiful melodic voice, and you know he comes in with those growled, harsh vocals. And I love the style he does it in. I love the sound of his harsh vocals. You know, he's got a very specific sound to Draconian. You know, I could probably tell who it was just by those growled vocals. You know, and like I say, I absolutely love their music. Of course, they're classified as Doom, and of course, everybody knows Doom is possibly my favourite genre of metal. Now, like I said, the track is called The Sorrow of Sophia, and I mentioned at the beginning, you know, Sophia is the goddess of wisdom, knowledge, that sort of thing. At least I think that's what this one's about. And whilst it was a lyric video, we'll still go through it anyway. Now it goes, Sophia is forgiven, the mother of our prison. Sophia is glistening, always weeping for the world. She's apprehension and her eyes torn by guilt. And we have these souls, and through her we are ascension. The grandeur of stillness and all of her sadness. Now, according to Gnostic texts, the sorrow of Sophia sort of, it comes about as a result of her trying to it says here, trying to emanate without her divine self, because she tries to breach the barrier between herself and the unknown depths of the cosmos. After catastrophically falling from the pleroma, which is totality of divine powers, Sophia's fear and anguish of losing her life, just as she lost like the light, causes confusion and longing to return to it, and this is the sorrow of Sophia, you know, because she's mourning the loss of the power. You know, she fell from total divine power, so she's got no power anymore, so it seems. At least that's what I get from it. So that's where it says, you know, it says there, the grandeur of stillness and all of her sadness. So yeah, her eyes are torn by guilt, you know, because she tried to do something that she probably shouldn't have tried to do, and as a result, you know, she's more or less ruined herself. Then it comes in with the harsh vocals. As lives cry out in torment, you are the everlasting sun. From the spark of countless aeons, you are weeping for the world. And then it comes in with the chorus, and we sleep with the tides where we sleep with the tides where we were lulled into matter, holding the burden of time. And we wake in the midst of a world about to shatter, shedding the burden of time. And there's a little note here. It says, a symbolic representation of the goddess Sophia is the loss of the unknowing. The loss from being confined to our limited knowledge of the materialistic universe and the inability to get out to find the transcendent meaning of life. There you go. Then it came in with a sort of bit of spoken word. It says, from my window I saw the darkness ignite, and a goddess concealed in shadow, seducing the stars and the flaming Gaia. And Gaia is the personification of Earth. I came here from the waters to invoke the spirit within you. I came to remind you, but you were lost in a sea of dark. Sophia is forgiven, the mother of our prisons. She stuck in deafening winds, the whispering in the fields, in the trees and the stone, the sorrow and the guilt. It broke through the spheres and fed the demons inside. And then goes back into that chorus. And we sleep with the tides where we were lulled into matter, holding the burden of time. And we wake in the midst of a world about to shatter, shedding the burden of time. Now, like I said, I absolutely love Draconian because, and I've mentioned this several times before, you know, their songs tell a story, and I love it when songs have either a deep meaning behind it or they tell part of a story. You know, these things fascinate me, you know, and it's something I really enjoy, and something you don't often find too much in many other forms of music. I mean, sure, some other genres of music, you know, might tell stories, you know, to a certain degree, but you don't get many regular bands, you know, singing about Greek goddesses or, you know, those sorts of things, you know, like the fall of Troy and things like that. You don't hear that in like pop music or hip hop music and stuff like that. You don't hear that in pretty much any other genre of music except for maybe classical and opera, you know. And then, you know, there's a huge leap from that to heavy metal, you know. But, you know, these genres have a great way of telling these classical stories and telling it in such a beautiful way and accompanying it with such wonderful music. And, you know, this is why I love doom metal, because, you know, I find that they tell like some really amazing, powerful stories with some amazingly written lyrics put to some absolutely stunning music. You know, that this is why I love doom. I mean, doom metal, it sounds like it should be like miserable and depressing, but, you know, it tells stories, and a lot of these stories from like Greece and like all these other places from history, my mind has just gone completely blank. You know, a lot of these stories were tragedies. I mean, you look at things like the Iliad. You know, the whole thing starts off because Paris... Was it Paris? Yeah, because Paris seduced Helen of Troy. And of course that started a whole goddamn war, and his brother, whose name escapes me right now, goes out to defend his brother, despite the fact that he'd done fucked up. You know, he still stood up for his brother, even though, you know, he knew he was probably going to die at the hand of Achilles. It's been a while since I read the Iliad. But anyway, you know, a lot of these stories were tragedies, so, you know, it sort of fits this kind of music. Just fantastic. I love it. I love this piece of music. You know, I've always enjoyed listening to this band, and like I said, from their first album, which I can't remember, I think it's Where Lovers Mourn. I think that's what it's called. You know, from the first time I heard that album and heard The Cry of Silence as the opening track, I mean, that track took me on a journey, and so, you know, so did this one. Because another thing about this band is, you know, they have these sort of soft melodic elements to it, like normally when the female vocalist comes in, and then they go into the sort of heavier, you know, sort of guitars and sort of thing when the male vocals come in, and the way they transition between the two is so smooth and sort of seamless. It's beautiful. You know, the way they compose their music is just amazing. You know, some of these bands, you know, they can be a little bit jarring. You know, they'll have the soft melodic bit and then they'll just go boom, you know, going crashing into the heavy bit. But this band sort of meld into each other so perfectly. You know, I love this band. I always have done since I first heard them. But yeah, now I'm just waffling on, so I'm going to leave that as it is. If you enjoyed the video, maybe consider giving it a like, possibly even giving it a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because it really does help me out. And yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.